Hello, Jen here, and I have another quick Dollar Tree DIY project for you guys. Actually, I have a couple of them that I'm going to put into this video. These are some last minute kind of fun Halloween decor type things. Quick, easy things that you could do to decorate for a Halloween party, or just, you know, throw some Halloween decorations into your house. And yeah, things you can put together pretty cheap, all dollar store, Dollar Tree specifically, except for one of them, but it could be Dollar Tree. And just, yeah, really simple, fun things that make a big pop. So the first thing that I'm going to do, you can see here I've already been working a little bit at it, is I got these two wreath forms at Dollar Tree. They always have these. These aren't seasonal. They have them all the time. And I picked up two of them, and I'm going to put them together kind of like this. I will change my camera angle so that you guys can actually see it. I'm using my scrapbooking area, but I'll change it so you can see a bit better, but I wanted to explain it to you. So I'm going to put these two forms together kind of like this to create that pumpkin shape. Here you've got sort of the inside of the pumpkin a little bit, and I'm going to make a wreath to go on the door. So using the wreath forms and using this decorative mesh that you can get at Dollar Tree, you can come up with a really quick, simple, fun wreath. So I'm hoping for jack-o'-lantern. So I have some orange, which I've already started making my little bundles. I have green to go on the top. I have purple because I thought I might make a little purple bow. And I have some black to try and make maybe some eyes and a mouth. We'll see how it goes. You're gonna tag along as I figure all of this out, but no matter what you guys choose to do, even if you just wanted to take one wreath form and cover it in orange, maybe put a puff of green at the top, then you've got a pumpkin. It's really simple. So we'll see how it goes and what I come up with, but I wanted to bring you guys along with me because these are so much fun to make, and once you have made one, you're going to be able to make them for Christmas and Valentine's Day and all that kind of stuff. So let me put you on voiceover and I'll show you how I make my little bundles and then how I'm going to put this all together. Alright, so I'm going to show you with this green deco mesh. This is from the Halloween section. So they do have Christmas green out now, which is a much brighter, kind of more festive Christmassy green, but I really like this more subtle green for the top of my jack-o'-lantern. So I'm just using my ruler for the very first cut. I just want to kind of have an idea of how much a foot is, and so each of my little bundles is about 2 feet long, and you can see how simple that was. This is sped up, but it's really not a whole lot slower in real time. You're basically just going to stretch out your piece of deco mesh, and using your fingers, you're just going to start to crinkle it up. And once you do it a couple of times, you kind of see how the deco mesh moves. You can see here I just use my fingers and kind of walk them along the center of the mesh, and it creates these little curlicues. And so once you've done it a couple of times and you kind of see how the deco mesh works, how it behaves, it becomes really simple, and you can throw together these bundles quite easily. I put two little bundles together and tie them with pipe cleaners, but if you go onto Pinterest, which is all of the inspiration for these projects all came from Pinterest. So if you go on there, you're going to see that there are a bajillion ideas for how to make wreaths in these styles, and I think everyone kind of has their own little personal way that they like to do these bundles. So, you know, play around with them and see. You can get some ideas off of Pinterest and YouTube, but definitely once you get started and you do a couple of them, you'll just kind of find your own groove with it. So now I'm going to put my two wire frames together, and that top green piece, I put that as green because I I know that that's going to be my top, and I'm going to use that green as the hanger as well. And then I'm just going to use some gold down here because you're really not going to see it, so it doesn't matter. I'm using pipe cleaner, but you could be using just about anything. If you have floral wire, if you have like decorative wire in your scrapbooking stash, literally whatever kind of wire you have, that's what you use. So I'm zooming in again here just to show you that I'm taking the little ends of my pipe cleaner where I've attached my bundles, and I'm just using those to attach to this wire frame. Now, I'm not hot gluing, I'm not doing anything super permanent because this is my very first time doing this type of wreath, and I'm going to leave the link for the inspiration that I saw on Pinterest, but the minute that you click on that link, you'll notice that there literally are thousands of different ideas. And so I feel like this is something that the more I do it, the more I'm going to want to expand what these look like. And so I can reuse these frames and I can reuse these little bundles. So I'm just going to tie them on with the pipe cleaners. But if you put together a wreath that you really like and you want it to really, last a long time, go ahead and put a little dab of hot glue on all of these bundles just so that you know that they're going to stay in place. So I spared you the time. This is really, really quick. So this is definitely something that you can pull together in like an hour, less if you have some helpers with you. But just for the sake of the video, I wanted to spare you the time. So I've attached all of my orange pieces, and then I realized that I didn't have enough orange. So by doing the bundles about 2 feet long and doing 2 bundles or 2 little, ringlets or however you want to call them per pipe cleaner, I used 6 rolls of orange deco mesh. I would probably pick up 8. I feel like 8 could really fill this out very nicely, and that's with the 2 frames. I think if you were only using 1 frame and doing just a round pumpkin, you could still get this really nice big plump pumpkin, and you probably only need the 6. And then of course you can see the green up there that I added, and I made my little bow, my purple bow, just very simply folded the deco mesh over a couple of times and then gathered it in the center and then added some burlap as another little touch of a bow. I really like that idea of the burlap with it's more kind of organic to go with the pumpkin. And this is my attempt at the face. So I've added 2 bundles of black for the eyes, and I've added some bundles of black for a mouth, and now here I'm trying to work in a sort of nose in the center. But what I decided, because it doesn't really look like a face and I needed some extra orange, instead of running out to the dollar store and buying a couple of extra bundles, I'm just going to use the black that I have. And so you saw me pulling off some of the orange bundles to move them to the end. So I have about 3 bundles of orange and then a bundle of black, and then 3 bundles of orange and then a bundle of black, and then of course the face. And so that is my wreath, and at the end I will show you a still shot of it hanging on the door, and I think it looks okay. The more I look at it, it looks like there is a face there, but it's definitely a work in progress. It's something I want to keep playing with next year. But if you need something to hang on your door tonight for Halloween, you could run out to Dollar Tree really quickly and pick up all of these supplies. You could do it with burlap, you could do it with just about any color of deco mesh, and make one of these wreaths so quickly. So my next really quick project, also from Pinterest, obviously this is the Off the Board series, so everything comes from Pinterest, is these wooden frames or wooden, I don't know what you even call them, just wooden shapes that you can get from Dollar Tree. They come out with tons of different shapes for all the different seasons, and I really love these haunted houses. So I have two different kinds here. This one that I'm painting right now comes on a stand, so it can stand up on its own. The next one I'm going to paint actually comes with some burlap twine, so you can hang it somewhere, and I'm going to take that off. But my idea for these is that they just look kind of cool, painted in black and just put around your house kind of as little silhouettes of, you know, a spooky haunted house. And then because I'm only painting the one side and I'm going to keep all of my embellishments contained within the shape, I'm going to be able to turn them over and get double use out of them because I have an idea for how I can paint these for Christmas and add them just as sort of a background or backdrop to my Christmas village. Now I do also have a Halloween village, and so this is where this whole idea kind of sprang from. Is I was looking up some ideas for different ways to do backgrounds for my Halloween village and noticed a lot of people are buying these shapes from Dollar Tree. There were a few different examples on Pinterest, so again, I will leave the links for you. But I really like the idea of being able to use them all season long, or, you know, from September because I like to decorate in September, from September all the way through till past Christmas, just by flipping them over. So that first one I painted all in black, and while it was drying, I went ahead and painted a bunch of those shapes. Those little wooden veneer shapes, those also come from Dollar Tree. And they had a whole bunch of different ones out for Halloween, some pumpkins and witches' hats and stuff like that. They also have them out for Christmas, so you can go and grab those too. So I painted those as well so that everything can dry. And I just used my watercolors because I really like the way that the watercolors soak into the, I think this is balsa wood, and it makes it look like it's a stain. And so I really like that feel of everything. So yeah, so I'm going to let all of that paint dry, set those to dry, and while I have my black dilutions paint out, here is my next project. These pumpkins are for Thanksgiving. So on the other side of them are these really sweet little Thanksgiving sayings. And so while I was painting my two haunted houses and kind of thinking about this idea of being able to get double use out of my decorations, my decor. I live in a really small house and we have lots of stuff going on, lots of kid stuff going on. So it's really nice to be able to invest in some of this stuff, put some time into creating stuff and get extra use out of it. So these two were actually sitting on my mantle, and I thought, you know what, I can do the same thing with those. So while I had my black paint out, I decided to flip them over. I used my heating tool just to help me melt the stickers so I could pull those stickers off, and then I kind of sanded them down a little bit where the stickers were, and then I painted those with the black too. And now I'm going to be able to put those back on my mantelpiece, and they're black and kind of fit in with the Halloween decor. So here's where I can put my little haunted houses together, and you can see how I fit everything in so that when I flip it over you won't be able to see these decorations, and I can do the other side in a more Christmassy theme. So I have some bats and I have the little ghost. I'm just trying to find the right place for it. And then I have this really cute jack-o'-lantern. And that's it. This is really, really simple, but I love how it's just add those really fun dark silhouettes to my Halloween decor. So here's where I kind of have a bit of a fail. I'm going to leave it in because I want you guys to see it, because I think it is a really good idea. I just didn't execute it very well. But once the black had dried on these little wooden pumpkins, I thought it would be kind of fun to add just a jack-o'-lantern face to them. I'm using texture paste because I didn't have any silver paint. I thought this silver would look really good and be a little bit more subtle than black and white. I don't really like the way that the faces came out because, as you can see, the texture paste just doesn't paint on very well. But I wanted to leave this in here so you could see, so it, you know, it might inspire you to do a better job than I am going to do, or I am doing. I'm going to sand these back down and repaint them black, and I think I'm just going to leave them black and kind of go along with that same feeling of the silhouette. So the last project that I have here, this one is a little bit more time consuming, and this is the one that doesn't come from Dollar Tree. These are books that I picked up at the thrift store, and I know if you are a bibliophile like I am, it might make you cringe to see me cutting books apart, but I promise these books are mass marketed. There's nothing super special about them. They are horror books, which I thought was really fitting, but this is definitely a project that can sit out with your just general fall decor, your Thanksgiving decor, and your Halloween decor. And basically you see here what I'm doing is I cut off those covers. I'm going to keep those covers because they work really good for junk journals and stuff like that. I drew the shape of a pumpkin, and now I'm just very carefully using my craft knife to trace around that shape and cut the paper away so that I have the pumpkin shape out of all of the pages. So I did this in two different ways. The one that I'm doing here, I kept the entire book together. All of the signatures are together, and I'm just going to slowly cut away through that entire book, essentially. With the wider, bigger pumpkin that I did, I actually took the book and I split it into four. So I just kind of split the book in half, found where there was a gap in the signatures, cut that straight down, and then cut each of those halves in half again, and I did it in 4 quarters. So when I glue these together, you'll be able to see that. Eventually, I'm going to end up being about halfway through this pumpkin and then just cut through the middle. I just found it easier to work with less paper, if that makes sense. And also when you glue it together, I think that it helps to spread the pages out a little bit better if you're working in smaller sections. So you can see how much paper this cuts away. Don't worry about all of those scraps. There are actually a lot of things that you can do with that. So you can see there is my 2 halves. But I punched out some shapes with these scraps, and I was thinking you could even use them as the stem of your book if you wanted to kind of twist them together, sort of, you know, glue them, do a little sort of Mod Podge paper mache and make the stem with them. There's lots of things you can do with those scraps. So that was my first pumpkin in the 2 halves, and you saw I just stuck those 2 halves together, glued the 2 end pages where the halves came together, and then kind of fluffed up the pumpkin. And now here's my wider pumpkin that I cut into 4 sections. And again, I'm just going to glue all of those sections together and then glue the 2 pages where the sections come together. That kind of helps to pull the pages apart and split them apart. And with the 4 there, I just needed an extra little bit of glue in the center at the bottom. So this is the bottom of my pumpkin. And then I'll flip it over. There you go. And now I need to put my stem. So again, looking on Pinterest, there were so many different ways that people create stems. I've seen people use real wood. You can get chunks of wood. I haven't seen it at my Dollar Tree, but I've seen it at other people's Dollar Trees. Other people have done hauls where they've been able to get just little like 2 or 3 inch chunks of sticks. You could go and get sticks outside. You can use all kinds of things. I think the paper scraps would make a really cool stem, but here I'm just using some burlap twine. This is the wired twine because I just felt like that really helped me to shape my stems. And yeah, those were super simple. So a little bit time consuming in the cutting portion of it. And you saw there, I kind of alternated between two different craft knives because I felt like it was just easier on my fingers to do that. I could put a lot more pressure with that orange Fiskars craft knife, but the other craft knife kind of is a little bit more gentle on your hand. So I just alternated, and it took me a few hours of kind of cutting and then putting it down, doing something else, coming back and cutting again. And now you can see my finished products. So I have them all set up on a little ottoman in my living room. Those are some pumpkins behind that haunted house that I did at the beginning of the month. And there's my wreath and my paper pumpkins. I think those are my favorite. I really, really love them. But there's my little pumpkin jack-o'-lantern faces, and that's it. That's my video for this month's Pinterest inspiration. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can leave them for me in the comments, and I will see you next time. Until next time, happy scrapping, happy crafting. Bye.